commission only business. And if we're not prospecting, we're not selling, it should be something that we're doing every day. But I also know that everybody has a different way to prospect. Some prospect their database, some prospect, cold calling, and there's just so many different ways. So, just go ahead and engage in the chat. If you have any questions, I'll be monitoring it and we can talk about it. We encourage you guys all to turn on your camera so we can see your amazing faces. Usually this is an in-person event, so we get to know you better. Now we have virtually, so please just if you're presentable, turn on your camera so that we can get to know you.
And by the way, feel free to just unmute yourself and talk to us, right? So as Bethany said, there's multiple ways of prospecting. I'll tell you, one of the biggest things that I hate is being rejected. And in this business, we get rejected 24/7, when we're, depending on how you're prospecting. So you will never catch me cold calling anyone asking for business. So for me, it's all about my sphere of influence, right? Repeat client. I'll tell you that, and I've joked about this a lot, but my husband was not allowed to come home from the hospital or every single week without bringing some sort of business, right? So I always tell everyone, train your loved ones, train your wife, your husband, your girlfriend. If they come home and they're not prospecting on your behalf, then you're not doing the right thing. So this is what I would always say is you can't come home this week unless a doctor, a nurse, or someone, from the hospital, without a name from someone from the hospital. And now at this point,
that's a good relationship tip.
Yeah, I'm getting a ton of business where he hears, hey, this nurse hates their agent. Here's her phone number. Give them a call. This doctor is selling their property and is looking to buy something else. So to me, those relationships are a little bit easier.
That's not a bad network. Let me tell you, doctors and physicians.
So I'd like to go ahead, Giovanni.
You mind if I jump in real quick?
Go for it.
All right, you hit the nail on the head. So hi guys, I see a couple clients on the call, a couple familiar faces.
Hello, Giovanni.
Nice to see you guys. Nice to see you, Bethany. If you don't know me, my name is Giovanni Pastrana. I work for the largest closing gift company in North America. And so I wanted to piggyback off of what Peter said. We all have a database and a network that we should really be leveraging, right? And so I guess you guys think of some common closing gifts that you guys are accustomed to thinking. Just think about some of the ones maybe you give them or other agents give them. You can even share in the chat box. I'll open up the chat box. Think about what are some common gifts you give, right? Wine, champagne, gift cards. Those are all really popular, right? What happens is that 90% of the gifts that we give, the client gets it, they love it, and then it's consumed. It's here today and it's gone tomorrow. The other 10%, right, like ring doorbells, doormats, crystal vases, paintings, they're awesome, but they collect dust or dirt, right? So what we do as a company, right, is we take the Cutco product. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Cutco. Like I said, if you're a client, Lisa, or somebody else, you guys can chime in. If you don't know about Cutco, we're made in America, guaranteed forever. But the point is that we take a product that they're going to love and use every day. It's going to be guaranteed forever. And we engrave directly onto the knife itself with your logo, your name, and your number. So you're leveraging your database, right? You're increasing repeat and referral-based business, like Peter said, right? It's going to keep you top of mind. 91% of people use a different realtor on the second transaction. NAR says that, and NAR says that the reason why is because they forgot their realtor's name. Not anything their agent did. They just forgot who their realtor was, right? People are human. Think about the number one room in the house to gather. What room's the number one room? It's the kitchen, the most advertising space, most marketing per dollar. Your budget should be in something that they're going to use every day. It's going to be with them forever and keep you top of mind, right? So that when friends and family are over for Christmas or 4th of July and they see a shiny, sharp red knife that they're using, it sparks conversation. Who gave you that? Oh, my realtor Peter gave it to me, right? He helped me buy this property. We love it. We use them. 6 months later, when they need a list or house, they're calling your client saying, hey, who's that realtor we talked about during the holidays on Christmas, right? Real quick too, tax deduction, you can write off $25 per gift per client as a tax deduction. But because we actually engrave right there on the knife your logo, name, and number. It's not a gift. It's a marketing budget, right? 100% tax deductible. And so big loophole there. So, I mean, if you have some interest in the gifts, I'll drop my info in the chat box so you can reach out. I'm running a special for YPN Rebar. I'm going to buy you guys $100 worth of product with your order. for those of you that have interest. So I'm going to put my information in the chat box. You can reach out, but it's really important that you leverage your database and that you're giving something that's going to be useful. They're going to love and use every day and think of you when they use it. And it's going to be with them, 40, 50, 60 years. So I heard you say repeat and referral-based business, Peter. I just wanted to piggyback.
Awesome. Thank you, Giovanni. And you know what? I'm happy that you brought up the $25, max budget that you can actually write off. And a lot of our agents will always say, hey, what's a great gift? I'm a terrible gift giver. I never know what I'm going to give. I hate giving out bottles of wine because you give me one, it's gone in a matter of 15, 20 minutes, right? Depending on who I'm enjoying the glass of wine with. So absolutely great point that you're able to write off the entire amount, because it is marketing piece with your contact information. I will tell you, they're pricey pieces. I use them all the time. They have some sort of lifetime warranty, if I'm not mistaken, and they're branded with your information. So thank you for sharing. Who else is prospecting in a different way that would like to share?
I don't know if it's different, but eBlast.
Eva, very good.
It's a little bit more passive, but long term, it's been quite successful.
What is it called? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Email blast.
Email blast. Awesome.
So that kind of just ties into like our database, right? Like prospecting the people that we already know, and we don't even realize how many people we actually know, like our barber, our nail techs, if we have kids, all of the teachers at their schools, tutors, other students' parents, even if you rent where you live, who works at the leasing office, everybody who lives in your building, our mechanics. Apologies, I promise you he's fine. He's fighting over a Hot Wheel. But yeah, it really taps, and this was a big aha for me this year, because I've never purchased leads up until about 3 months ago. And even then, everyone that we tend to get under contract tends to be people that already like, know, and trust us. And we just need to love on the people who already like, know, and trust us already. So that means calling the people that we already know, emailing them, a pop by, mailing them a little gift. Like, Peter, thank you. You sent me and hubby some stuff a couple weeks ago, like those snacks. Delicious. Like, these are just amazing ways to already, like, just keep in touch with the people that we already know us, like us, so that we can generate more repeat and referral. But we have to get our databases in order to know who to call, who to check up on, and things like that. So prospecting doesn't necessarily have to be expensive or time consuming. We just need to tap into the people we already know.
And prospecting also doesn't require that you're constantly asking someone for business, right? So what Chandra is talking about, I ask people for help all the time. So I did ask Chandra if she could help us create some marketing pieces. As a thank you, I wanted to, send out a quick gift. But if we are not responding or reaching out to people right now during COVID, it's a major missed opportunity, because it is so easy to pick up the phone and just say, hey, Tori, how are you doing? Everything okay? Do you need help with something? And right. And Tori said he's fine, right? But if there was something that was going on, an eviction or something challenging, then I would hope that relationship would be strong enough where, the individual on the other end of the phone would say, you know what, Peter, I need to sell my house because we just lost our job. We have a ton of equity. Can you help me? And if it's out of state, even better, get, less work that you're doing, you earn yourself a referral check. It's really important. So I would say, continue to make those care calls, even though we're doing a little bit better in Florida. Those care calls are super important during these tough and challenging times. So keep doing that. Anyone else want to share something?
I'll jump in really quick. We actually have a prospecting mailing campaign that we're going on right now, piggybacking off of what you were saying about COVID in New York. We took a mail out. We had a realtor. We put both of our pictures on it. We mailed it out, and we got a really great leads, and a couple of them are closing from those great leads. So what we did was we did another group of mail outs to their particular building because they live in a big building. We said, hey, your neighbors are moving. You should call us too. And so now we're starting to get the leads from that as well. So it's kind of thinking outside the box a little.
And can you tell us something about mailers, right? Because to me, mailers are a great thing if you have the funds to do it for a long period of time. So are you guys sending out those mailers, you know, consistently, or was it a one-time deal where you found all this incredible success?
Yeah, so we do the mail outs consistently. The realtor that we're working at originally lived in New York, which is how we know what zip codes, you know, can afford to come down here. And so we've kind of targeted those zip codes. The great program that we use with the Total Expert is they do all the work for us. We put together the postcard of how we want it to look, and, you know, hey, you want to come to South Florida? Are you done with living in New York? You know, whatever. We kind of made this really fun postcard. And then we went ahead and as a lender, we can, you know, legally we can split it 50-50 with the realtor. So that's what we do. We go on the website, we pick the zip codes that we want to send it to and the buildings that we want to send it to. And then we mail those they mail them directly for us. We don't lick any envelopes or do any of that stuff. We just put the addresses in. They charge us like 20 cents or something, like whatever it is, 20 cents to mail it. And then they do it directly for us. So we never see it again. All we get is the phone calls that call in.
Awesome. So what I would like to discourage our newer agents, anyone who's new, who's on here, is don't waste your money. If you're going to send out one postcard and then walk away from it, you must be consistent with it, because where we find the most success with prospecting and sending out those postcards is where they continuously see your face coming through. If you send me a postcard, it goes into the dumpster. If I get it the second time, I'm like, all right, you know what? Chandra just sent me a second postcard. Great. Might still go into the dumpster. You know, it's not until the third, fourth, fifth time where I'm like, okay, this person is legit. They know what they're talking about. They're experts, you know, as opposed to someone who just says, I just sold this, and then you never hear from them again. And when they call you asking for the business, guess what? You're just not going to get it from you, right? And you all get these postcards. You received so many during this election period where everyone was attacking each other, saying, vote for me, don't vote for that person. So it has the same effect. Hey, Regina, nice to see you. Thank you for sharing that. Does anyone have any other ways that you're currently prospecting that we haven't discussed yet?
I can share one.
Go for it.
Thanks, Peter, for saying hi, because I probably would have stayed quiet. Yeah, I've been doing two things that have been working really well. One is something I call, it's a system called Banner Season. And it's kind of like, if anyone knows send out cards, it's an old, it's relationship-based selling, right? It's relationship-based, not selling, but building relationships. And so it's cool because you can send cards, but this company, Banner Season, took the list of send out cards and added gifts. So you can create campaigns. And I love what you just said, Peter, because this is exactly that, is if you're just going to do it one time, you might as well not do it. So what this does is it creates a campaign, and you can literally get people's contact information, like with a text, or they give you like your own personal link. And I've been sending them to people saying, hey, let's stay in touch, you know, trusting that you're well, and just reconnecting, right? Like finding out how's everybody doing after COVID. And not after, it's still, obviously we're in it. But just going back to the relationship and really, you know, making it a conversation. Like it's not just about business, right? And really caring about people, and people are really enjoying that. It takes a little bit of money, right? But it's not a ton. It's just like sending a postcard, except you send something a little more personalized. And then the other thing is social media. I found has been obviously really powerful if it's utilized with the same intention of creating those relationships and building those bonds. And it's been working.
Someone had a question in the chat that I thought was really good. What tips for someone who's new to an area and has no sphere of influence? I think that the easiest thing to do is to, depending on the brokerage you're with, see what listings that you can borrow, maybe do some virtual open houses, things like that. Also, you're gonna know somebody. Like, where did you move into? Did you move into a building? Get to know your neighbors, get to know the people who work at the front office. Where do you get your car washed? Where do you get your car serviced? Like, I got a car in November. My car salesman is buying a house from me, and so is his mom. Okay. So we know people, it doesn't matter what you think. There's people everywhere. I wish there was one of our fellow board members, Ashley. She's actually from Central Florida. You know, she moved to Miami a couple years ago, and you know, she just took advantage of the people that she interacted with. I wish she was on this call so she can share. But I would say, if you really want to prospect maybe a neighborhood or something, maybe offer to do some open houses and things for agents who have listings in an area that you want to prospect. And don't forget about the people that you already interact with, even if it's just the cashier at the supermarket, the person who's delivering your groceries, whoever it may be. Everyone needs somewhere to live. So ask everyone that you interact with.
You know, one thing that I never wear is my name badge. However, when I traveled, and we used to travel a lot with Miami YPN prior to COVID, I always wore either my name badge or my KW pin, and people would always ask questions. And they'd say, what's your name? What does the KW stand for? And then it would just open up a conversation to talk about real estate. And it was fantastic. So I would encourage you, if you have a name badge, wear it to the grocery store. You know, it just opens you up to have conversations. And if you're in a vertical, the vertical part of town, I'm in Brickell, I say hi to every single person that walks into my elevator, even with my mask on now, right? Because it's super important that we're just being as friendly as possible, because you never know when someone is just going to start talking about real estate, and you want to be the first person there to help them out. So thank you guys for sharing. I don't see Danya on here, but Danya was on here earlier, and I wanted her to share a little bit, because while I've been away, I'm on vacation, as I mentioned before. I've been gone for about a week and a half now, and every time I log into social media, I see a lot of these ads coming through from Danya. So somehow she's targeting me, right? Or her algorithm is targeting me. And so it doesn't matter what I'm watching, the moment that there's a commercial, it's usually a house that she's looking to sell. And I can't remember what platform she was using. So if any of you remember what her platform was, you know, feel free to share. You know, but there are a lot of different ways for you to continue to lead generate without having to physically pick up your phone and call. Okay, so let me see. We have a couple of questions here. Please explain how any of you are using IMAP. So is anyone here using IMAP?
I do.
Do you mind talking a little bit about how you're using it to prospect?
Well, something that is very useful through IMAP is that whenever I want to find out if a certain building in downtown has done financing with less than 25% down, after doing, if I filter through the MLS on the closed sales, which deals were financed versus the ones that were cash, in certain occasions, when you go to IMAP, you can actually find who was the lender that did the deal. And furthermore, in some occasions, you might also see what the down payment amount was. And that actually helps me at least give me some clue as to whether this building might be either approved for FHA financing or maybe a low down payment conventional loan, because they may have sufficient reserves or adequate insurance. And that's very important in my market, you know, on the beach and in downtown, because every building is different. That's one way. The other way, obviously, is finding the contact information or the name of the entity, where the entity is from. So if you want to, for example, target a specific building, you can find out if ABC LLC is a New York company or a Florida company. You can then go to Sunbiz and find out who the attorney is, or who the owner of the company is, and actually send a piece of a mailer to the right address rather to maybe the wrong place.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Marcelo. For those of you that are not using IMAP, I would definitely encourage you to take one of the classes through the Miami Association of Realtors. There's some great content. If the class is not available, I guarantee you that there's probably a recording that you can watch on our live page. So check it out. One thing that I haven't heard, and I'm sorry, my internet keeps going in and out, but I don't know if we've talked about agent referrals. Right now in Florida in particular, we are starting to see a lot of people exit Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, all these high tax states, because of how expensive it is. Initially, it started off with COVID. People were trying to leave to Florida because we were in a pretty healthy place with our COVID cases. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case, right? New York has definitely done a much better job than we have in Florida, but people much rather stay in a place like Miami or South Florida in general, where you have incredible views. I get to see dolphins and manatees from my home office, almost on a weekly basis. I think it's incredible. So what I would encourage all of you to do, especially for some of the larger brokerages like EXP and Keller Williams, there are a lot of real estate agents you can easily reach out to and say, hey, if you've got any clients that are looking to move from Atlanta down to Miami, I'd love to be your referral partner. That's what I would highly encourage. I don't know if any of you are having success with that, but my team has definitely seen a lot of success with people leaving places like Atlanta and the rest of the Northeast. Chandra, you do a lot of referral-based business, don't you?
Yeah, I actually just got a buyer 2 days ago, moving from Cali, and they're coming down to South Florida. So, but that's huge, agent to agent referrals. And speaking of Atlanta, I want to give a quick shout out to Angela Ham, who's on this call right now. That's one of my girls, amazing agent out in Atlanta. So, hey, Angela. But yeah, she agent to agent referrals. And it's funny because one of the agents on my team actually joined my team because I posted on social media how I was growing my network of agents, my national network of agents. And I wanted people to reach out to me and tell me what state they were in, what area they serviced, what company they were in. And I was able to now widen my reach to other agents that were not just within my brokerage, right? And in areas that I did not have agent partners in, and now I do. So not only are agent to agent referrals great for obviously buyers and sellers, but to also grow your own personal business as far as your relationships with other agents as well. So.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. And I guess, Angela is completely spoken for. So we cannot get her referrals down in South Florida. They're all Chandra's.
Sorry, y'all.
Yeah. So let's find our very own, referral partner, our very own Angela for those referrals. Thank you for sharing that. It's really important that we continue to support each other in this business. It's a tough business. And at the end of the day, we are all partners in this business, right? And I know that some people feel a little bit more entitled. They think they are better than someone else. That's not how this business operates. So if you know that someone is struggling, they're a new agent and they need some help, reach out and say, I'm here to help you out, because at the end of the day, you don't win until the transaction is closed. And the only way that could happen is if you work together.